Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy weekend, everybody. You are now listening to another full edition of the Narrator Podcast, and I'm your host, Halziespoetrycorner. Welcome to the Narrator Podcast. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome everybody new tuning in right now to the Narrator Podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is a full edition of the Narrator Podcast. All my narrators, they already know the demonstration about my podcast. You know what it's about and what the focal point is of it. So before diving into the content, I'll just give a brief overview to all my new listeners. Give you just a little synopsis of the Narrator Podcast and what it's about, and then we're going to dive right on into the content. So let's start at the very top. The name, the narrative. What does that suggest? I named my podcast the Narrator Podcast because the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. They really deceptively, divisively play up all the negative stigmas, stereotypes, and negative nuances we have within our culture and about our people. They focus the lens on all the negativity and none of the positivity when it comes to our people. So what I want to do is I want to design a platform where I'm showcasing and highlighting us at our best instead of, always being shown, having images and audio of us shown about us down bad. So basically what this platform is designed to uplift, empower, educate, impact original people and just kind of, reverse what the mainstream media has done, how they've tarnished our reputation as a people. So it's intentionally done. It's really like psychosomatic, psychological warfare at its best. It's just a ploy to control the minds of the masses and, also influence and impact us about how we see ourselves as a people. So that's what I want to do on this platform. I want to just, break that programming and just put out, positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. The ultimate takeaway I want people to get from my content, especially my people, is how important it is to share positive Just a second. I am tangled up all in my testing, yeah, tangled up all in my headphone. So I don't even know how that happened. Testing, 1, 2. All right, I'm still here. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing on this platform. Is I'm just putting out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. The ultimate takeaway I want people to get from my content, my people to get away from my content, is how important it is to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Reason being is because we're now living in this new age, this digital age, and we're pretty much judged by the content that we post online. That's how people judge you these days. They judge you based on the content that you post online. They associate whatever you're posting online, your value systems, your belief systems, your integrity, your morals, your standards. All this is, assessed by what you're posting online. This is also how Fortune 500 companies gather their data and create products based on what's posted online. So in the larger scheme of things, just imagine us as a people, if we're always embracing these negative stereotypes and stigmas placed over us by the powers that be by posting negativity online. If we're always posting gang culture, pimp culture, whore culture, thought culture, violence culture, drug culture, junkie culture, like if we're embracing all those negative stereotypes and stigmas over it, embracing that by posting it, what do you think people outside of our culture think about us? And you got to remember, all they're giving about us is negative frames of reference by the powers that be, and then we walk right into the trap by posting all these negative stereotypes that they generate and propagate about us. So it's up to each and every one of us to, post positive content. It's not about caring about what people outside of our culture thinks. It's basically like setting the record straight. So we should be posting positivity. We should be posting stories about leadership, entrepreneurship, unity, prosperity, wealth, opulence, excellence. This is what we should be posting about online to give you the full dynamic of who we are as a people, as opposed to always embracing the stereotypes. This is, why I call my target audience my narrators, because we all can narrate our stories online. We're the masters about whatever we post online. Like, you can pick whatever type of content you want these days to share online. So this is up to us to narrate our stories. So that's not like a definitive end-all, be-all solution to this, these negative stereotypes, to this systematic thing, but it is a solution nevertheless. So having said that, I think that's a perfect segue to unveiling my tagline. My tagline is Narrator Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes? I provide positive frames of reference. This is essentially what my podcast is all about, providing positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. So yeah, there you have it in a nutshell. One more last thing, one last bit of business to take care of. Excuse me, get a little tongue-tied sometimes. Before diving into the content on this platform, I refer to our people as original people as opposed to black. And the reason why I feel that way is because I feel, original is more impactful in a more broad term to describe us as a people as opposed to black. See, in the beginning, we were here at the beginning. Our existence on this planet predates all religious tract, We were the first human beings on the planet. We originated everything. We originated spoken language, written language, mathematics, science, architecture, alchemy, medicine, you name it, we originated it. Then we allowed some people whom we felt really sorry for and taught to be self-sufficient in this world, who were not self-sufficient. They was dwelling in caves, barely evolved. Like first of all, we didn't come from evolution. Let's get that straight. They came from evolution. We was already fully sentient, standing upright, forming complete sentences, building buildings, citadels, statues, monuments, you name it. Shelters, homes, like we had highly advanced tools, nothing primitive. We didn't evolve from monkeys, giraffes, monkeys, orangutans, apes, baboons, gorillas, chimpanzees, whatever. We didn't evolve from none of that. But some other people, they might have. But anyway, these other people that we let around us, they kind of just hijacked language. And they got to colonizing things, just putting their own little spin on things that already existed, things that we created, and they began to record history or his story. And in that, they took language, specifically a word called black. When we created this word, it represented wealth, it represented intelligence, it represented holiness, cleanliness, anything positive you can think of was associated with the word black when we created it. But then when these other people came around, they flipped the narrative and they made the word black mean something negative. Like you can go in any dictionary today, look in the dictionary, see all these negative pronouns, nouns, adjectives, whatever, etc., associated with the word black. It's all negative. Before they get into all that negativity, they go out of their way to denote origin. Like, for example, they might say something they may read, depending on what version of the, dictionary you have, black people possessing a dark pigment originating or descending from Africa. And then they go into all these like negative ways how to use black, like pitch black day, black, desolate, bleak, gloomy, calamitous, so on and so forth, a black day, black, the way they use it in the dictionary, it's always associated with something bad, like misfortune, like black cats are bad luck, dirty, filthiness, wickedness, evilness is associated with black. You got a black heart. You got some darkness to you. Devoid of like just everything, anything negative you can think of is associated and linked with the word black. But then you flip over and go into white and you see everything positive and holy and pristine, orderly, associated with the word white. So again, psychological warfare is intentionally done. And if you look at us as a people, especially here in America, are we acting out our definition of the word black, or are we acting out their definition of the word black? Just marinate on that. Whose definition of the word black are we acting out when we're killing each other, when we're living in depravity, when we don't control and own things. We have no ownership, we have no say-so. Whose definition of the word black are we living out? Our original people definition or the colonizer's definition of the word black? Just marinate on it. Now, that's why I refer to our people as original people versus black, because when you go to that same dictionary, look up the word original, there's no negative connotation surrounding the word original. Nothing. Original simply means the first, and in many cases, the best. Original. Original is a perfect way to describe us as a people because we are so multi-dimensional and just multicultural. Just like there's so many different types of us scattered all throughout the globe. We all speak different languages, different dialects of the same language, but we're all different. But we all have some common denominators. We all possess melanin. We can all trace our lineage back to Africa. And then something else that I always point out on my platform, being original people, we all did not just come get to every corner of the globe by slave ships. We didn't, especially here in the Americas. So while slavery did happen, while chattel slavery did happen, while the transatlantic slave trade did indeed happen, there were some horrendous, barbarous, barbaric things done to us during slavery. We did not all come over to America and other places on the globe via a slave ship. We didn't. Most of us was already originally inhabiting wherever we were at the time in history. Like most of us, we was already right there. We was already here in the Americas. We was already here on parts of Asia, the continent of Asia, scattered all throughout about there, scattered, all throughout the Pacific Islands, Virgin Islands, Germany, UK, all throughout Europe. Who was already there. So, just while slavery was a real thing, we didn't all come from slavery. Like our slave boats, should I say. We weren't all captured in the slave trade. It was already existing in a whole lot of corners of the globe. So I didn't mean to go too far off on a tangent. I just wanted to, solidify my point about what I mean when I call us original people. And then also referring to us as original people, that unifies us, that, gives us a sense of, oneness, even though we are many different kinds, hailing from many different parts of the world. Like I said, we can all trace our lineage back to Africa. We all possess melanin. So we're all of one blood, but just, have different upbringings, different religious beliefs, different cultural beliefs, value systems, but still, we are original, the original man and the original woman of this planet. So the word original also unifies us as a people, as well as, describes us as a people, because it's a real powerful, impactful, unique word. We're original. We're often imitated, never duplicated. We are the original article. All right, so now I think I've made my points on that. Another thing about my podcast is it's all time sensitive. My podcast is broken up into sections. Each section has a speaking point. I will describe each section as I come to them. And here we go with no further ado, diving into the content here today on the full episode of the Narrative Podcast. My very first section is called the promo section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm offering original people that own and operate their own businesses or have their own product or service that they need promoted. I'm inviting them to hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail at poeticpassion.host, to promote, their business, product, or service, whatever they got going on that they need or would like promoted. Why am I doing that? I'm doing my part to help circulate the original people dollar within the original people community by, bringing awareness to their brand. I do have a platform, a small platform, but, some publicity is better than no publicity, so it's with my anticipation that people to reach out to me are people that do something for the community in which their business is rooted in, such as hire their own and do some type of community outreach. So, in essence, that's what I feel I'm doing in this section, helping them broaden a business, helping them grow their circle so they can hire more of their own and do more community outreach, type programs for their community. Because while we are owed reparations, it is a must that we support one another. We must patronize our businesses and promote our businesses. We don't got to like each other, but we got to work with each other to make this liberation thing work. And yes, I realize everybody ain't with the movement. Some people just ain't with the movement. But for those of us that's trying, that's doing our best, that acknowledge the problem and trying to do something about it, I'm putting the resources out there for you to do that, to do so. So if you need or like some promotion, please do not hesitate to hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail at poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type promo, the body of the email. Tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product or service or event or whatever thing you need promoted. Be specific as possible. The more specific you are, the better the promotional drop will be. All right, on to my next section. This section is called the contest section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm promoting a contest exclusively for my podcast, the Narrative Podcast. How am I promoting it? I'm offering listeners or whoever participates in this contest a bulk supply of their favorite snack food item by participating in the contest topic. And the contest topic is share your most recent shopping while black experience, and for that you will receive your very own bulk supply of your favorite snack food item. Free, 110%. The entry is free. I will pay for it. I will ship it out to you. All you gotta do is enter the contest. And again, the name of the contest is called the Chew On This Contest. And I call it the Chew On This Contest because the prize is a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item. So to enter, you just hit me up, Halsey Allen at passionwebmail, poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type Chew On This /r- shopping while black. Body of the email, please make sure to include your most recent shopping while black experience, your mailing address so I know where to send the bulk supply of your favorite snack food item, and then, of course, tell me what type of snack food item you would like. And I fulfill your request and send it to you. Entry, 110% free. The reason why I'm doing that is to reward people that's been listening and supporting me since day one. And also, to give my listeners, some homework, some uh, listener participation, get you involved and active in the Narrator podcast content. So we're interacting with each other. This contest is basically like an interaction exercise to see who's all listening and to reward all the listeners. All right, moving right on along. Oh yeah, so I'm gonna bring that back one more time before I move on to my next section of the Narrative Podcast. So to enter the Chew on This contest, please hit me up at passionwebmail@poetedpassion.hosts. And in the subject bar, type Chew on This / shopping while black. If you do not want to type the entire word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps to save time. And then in the body of the email, and please include your most recent shopping while black experience, your mailing address so I know where to send your prize, and then of course, what type of snack food item you would like as a prize, and I will gladly send it to you. All right, so that's it, and that's all for that section, and on to the main section of the Narrative Podcast, the nitty gritty. This is the highlight section. In this section, what I'm doing is I'm sharing positive frames of reference about entrepreneurialism. So the entire podcast is dedicated to sharing positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. It doesn't get more positive than original people doing for self, because we get the negative stereotypes about us not being able to do for self. So, we have very few positive frames of reference as far as entrepreneurialism goes. If you're very few entrepreneurial visual representations of us are negative. On those reality television shows, we got our entrepreneurs, but they focus so much on the dysfunction that we forget, these people on these shows are earning 5 and 6 figures. They're like, have several people under their umbrella. They got, 2 or 3 main businesses and 8 or 9 side businesses, and, over 1,000 people in each one of their entities working for them. And they're feeding like over 20 or 30 families, putting like 40 or 50 people's children through college. But, all that's drowned out by the dysfunction. They want to display the dysfunction and the foolishness for the ratings. They want to see us fighting on camera, squaring up with each other on camera, cussing each other out, denigrating us, each other, and going back and forth, throwing stuff at each other, causing ourselves bodily harm, causing collateral damage to wherever the fight goes down at. So if they're at a 5-star restaurant, they're breaking up tables and chairs, and you know what I'm saying? Just a real bad, negative visual representation of us. So in this space here on the Narrative Podcast, I bypass all that and get right to the positive frames of reference, right down to the nitty gritty. Also, what I'm doing in this section is, walking you through their entrepreneurial journey, telling you, how they came up with their brand, everything they had to endure along the journey, from its experimental stages on up to the finished product, you know, how they came up with their name, how they got inspired to do it. Also, the people I highlight in the highlight section are not, a whole lot of them aren't college educated, aren't, you know, business savvy, didn't possess, you know, the vocational training skills sets necessary to be an expert in the field of business, whatever business that they started, but they found a way to do it. They started from the ground up, believed in themselves, and started a business. So I want to put out that positive frame of reference that it is possible if you want to do it. Some more qualifying factors is the people that I highlight on the highlight section, they donate to charity. You know, they pay into a nonprofit organization, or they have their very own nonprofit organization that they pay into. They also hire their own. Many of the people that I feature in the highlight section are family-owned and operated businesses. So then I'm giving you a positive frame of reference about generational wealth for the family-owned businesses. And last but not least, they line up with my theme, and my current theme is the season of summer. So, you know, these are businesses that one would automatically, you know, associate with summer. Some, you know, people do every summer, or at least I do. Sometimes it's just something I think about when I think about summertime, but, you know, usually it's like, you know, what everybody thinks about when they think about, you know, summertime, wintertime, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so diving right into the highlight section of the Narrator podcast, I got a couple businesses for you. This week I only have two. Usually I have either 3 to 4 businesses, but just only two really stuck out for unique stories, checking all the boxes and aligning up with my you know, theme and what I'm trying to do with the podcast and everything. So, like I said, it's the season of summertime, and in summertime, what happens in the summertime? Well, right now, something that's going on is graduation. Like a lot of people are graduating high school and college. And a common gift that most parents or, you know, people that support this young person, whether it's high school or college, this is a common gift that, you know, graduates often receive upon graduating. It's especially true for the high school students. Now, if you get another gift like that in college, I might have already gave it away. You're very fortunate. Because by college, you should be on your own. You should have it figured out. But if you get another one of these gifts, then count yourself fortunate. I guess you're getting a do-over if you messed your gift up in high school. So yeah, I think I about ruined it. I'm going to just segue on into it. So, as we all know, it's graduation season. Some season of summer is graduation season, and a common gift that graduates receive for graduating is a motorized vehicle, a car. So the businesses that I will be highlighting in the highlight section this week on the Narrator podcast are car dealerships. And our first business in the highlight section on the Narrator podcast is Mills Auto Group. And the founder's name is Damian Mills. And you can go hit them up at www.millsautogroup.com. And you'll probably have to go to IG because when you type it up, for some odd reason, that link is broken, so you have to go to Instagram. Go to Instagram and type in Mills Auto Group, and then hit the link from there. But telephone number is 757-558-5653. So this person had a very long, interesting story. And so, like I said, I try to keep my podcast short and to the point, because I want my podcast to have a nice and cohesive feel. I don't want to just be rambling and going in circles. I want to really clear, define beginning, middle, and an end, so that the information will resonate with you and you can refer back to it at a later date and just circulate the knowledge. So it's, within my podcast, I never want to shoot over people's heads, and I never want to abuse the time limit. But having said that, he got a really long background, so I'm giving you the streamlined version of his story. So basically, he grew up in Gainesville, Louisiana. He became CEO of Dudley Products. This was his first business endeavor while in college. Then upon graduating college, he got a job, just struck out several times, as many people do. Be just getting out of college. He went to like nearly every dealership he could think of before he finally got a sales job over at Crown Dodge. And then after Dodge, they ended up selling the company, and ownership opportunity came up. He stepped out on faith. He took his life savings and bought his first dealership. Since then, he's added like 15 more dealerships to, his what would you call it? His legacy. And thus, Mills Auto Group was born. So there's not a whole lot in the about section to his on his site. They have everything. They got business class sedans, E-class, business type cars, mid-size sedans, luxury, contemporary, like any type of vehicle you can think of, utility sport. I think their main focal point right now is luxury, though. They seem to be focused on luxury vehicles right now, but they have everything you can think of at a low introductory rate price. And he is for the people. He hires our people. So yeah, everything you can think of. They specialize in luxury vehicles, but they also do custom detailing, like they'll trick the car out, as you say, pimp the ride. They do a lot of customizing too. But he's all about community. He hires his own. He has a great training program. He offers all his associates the opportunity to own their own franchise and ultimately, branch out and do their own thing with tools that he provides for them to do that. But you got to prove yourself and work your way up through the company to do that, like he did. But definitely doing this thing to give back to the community. So join me in a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Mr. Damian Mills and Mills Auto Group. Yeah, sorry, accidentally hit it. So my next section, moving on. Next dealer is Prices Too Good 365 or PTG 365. That's their PTG 365. That's the name of the brand, but it stands for Prices Too Good and 365 days in the whole year. So that's the significance of the name. And once again, they advertise on Instagram. You got to go to Instagram and go to official and hit up PTG on Instagram, and it'll take you to the link. And then once you're on Instagram, you click on PTG365.com on their Instagram link, because the other website, I don't know what happened. It said suspended, so you have to go to their website on Instagram. Or if you have any inquiries, go to ptg@gmail.com. I think I jumped ahead of myself. This business was started out by 3 entrepreneurs: Brandon Medford, Dave Obasky, and Eric Whitehead. So basically, they're all friends. They met in college. All of them majoring in different parts of business. The article didn't really say how they decided to form their own car dealership, but they pulled their resources, formed their own car dealership. They bought out several companies and thus was able to keep the overhead down, the prices down, so they can give people nice, affordable, fair prices for a vehicle. And that's kind of the focal point of their business, is to give, people a good deal on a vehicle and help make cars affordable. They offer financial literacy. They help people repair their credit so they can finance the vehicle. Because, you can do a lot of things with cars too, as far as cleaning up your credit score and whatnot. So they teach you those hacks as well, in addition to selling you a really nice car. They concentrate, in addition to, making their cars more affordable, the area expertise is custom builds, custom designs. They specialize in that. So they got a pimp my ride type thing going on with their dealership as well. They do custom builds. That's what they specialize in. In addition to just, making the vehicle affordable. But they got a unique marketing system. They market to people who are, financially strapped, or people who they feel are people that feel that they're financially strapped, to help them, build their credit score up, afford a vehicle, and use their vehicle to levy, other things, property and credit and whatnot. And then also, of course, they hire their own and they train as well. and they do things within the community. They do all kinds of community outreach and activism and whatnot. So join me in giving a warm Narrative podcast round of applause to Brandon Medford, Dave Obowski, Eric Whitehead of Price is Too Good or PTG 365. All right, getting to the nitty gritty. Spotlight section. Spotlight section is the section of the Narrator podcast where I'm spotlighting people, prominent figures within our community, the main people that I spotlight in this section are people in the entertainment industry, so actors, actresses, recording artists, social media influencers, TikTokers, YouTubers, TED Talkers, motivational speakers, activists, religious figures, just basically anybody with a polarizing platform in the eye of the public. And the types of prominent figures that are in our community that I spotlight are people that, have done some type of outreach, some type of charity work, some type of social activism, some type of political activism, some type of charity giving back to the community, whether it's with the elderly, whether it's with our children, whether it's with, climate, just anything positive. And then if they're not really a charity type person or, make speeches or motivational type person, just a positive visual frame of reference about what a good brother or sister looks like, the way they carry and conduct themselves in public. Those are the types of spotlights that I'll be giving in the spotlight section of the Narrative podcast. So what is the spotlight section? It's basically me giving them their roses while they're here for, all their work that they've done, how they make us look as a people. And then also to create the healthy habit of saying something nice about your brother and your sister instead of something denigrating or, dragging each other through the mud and slinging mud and talking bad about each other, airing out grievances and dirty laundry on air. The machine has incentivized that type of foolishness, making us believe that's the only way we can get money or get traction for a project is to, pull another brother or sister down on social media, sling some mud or talk bad about them. We're the only people to do that. So what I want to do on the spotlight section is create the healthy habit of saying something nice about your brother or sister or giving them a spotlight. And to no avail, it is working because so many people are spotlighting now. I would dare say I'm the one that created spotlighting, because before I added the spotlight section to my platform, the Narrative podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. So, gotta give it up for me, Halsey Allen, on the Narrative podcast.
You are now listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. All right. So moving right on along. Today's spotlight on the Narrative Podcast goes to one Miss Martise Johnson. So you might recognize the name. If you don't, he pretty much, revolutionized the hashtag movement on social media. I mean, he kind of made it infamous what happened to him. Back in 2015, an off-duty cop was caught brutalizing him on camera. This happened at the University of Virginia back in 2015. So he was just minding his own business on the campus, like living a college kid life, child. I don't like saying kid, but young man just on college campus, living his best life. And then out of nowhere, some jerk cop comes, brutalizes him for no reason other than the fact that he could. And his fellow students came to his aid and assist by launching a hashtag movement while he was healing from the vicious onslaught that he suffered. And the movement was called Justice for Martez, if I'm saying the young brother's name right. And ever since then, he's been an open advocate for police brutality, speaking out for victims everywhere, sharing his story, speaking at Know Your Rights conventions, and just being a champion of police brutality and using his platform to put that message out about the rights you do have and, the type of help to get if it ever does happen to you, because that is traumatic to get assaulted by someone that's supposed to serve and protect you. So usually on the spotlight section, I'd go into, where they grew up at and all that. Their date of birth, just wasn't no information readily available about this young man. So, and believe me, I dig. Like, I dig deep. If it ain't there, it ain't there. But he was definitely worthy of the spotlight. And that's what I did today, as I gave him a spotlight on the Narrative podcast. So join me in giving this young man a warm Narrative podcast round of applause for being such a good advocate, triumphing in the face of adversity for something horrendous and terrible that happened to him, and sharing it, having the courage to share his story so that it wouldn't happen, or if it does happen, what to do if it happens for future generations. Join me in the Warm Narrative podcast. Round of applause for Martez Johnson. All right, so now our next section of the Narrative podcast is the health and wellness section. And the health and wellness section is exactly how it sounds. It's about health and wellness. The total body health and wellness of my people, the original people. Now, my content is designed for anybody to partake in. Anybody from any background, diverse background, can listen to it. But just know that all the content on the Narrative podcast is specifically aimed at my people, the original people, especially in this section, the health and wellness section, because our health is different from pretty much everybody. We have a unique cellular structure. It's different from everybody on the planet. So, whatever religious belief you subscribe to, whatever spiritual belief you subscribe to, believe we are all one and spiritually. Yes, that's true, but medically, no, it is not. Medically, we all have different things we can handle, different dietetic needs, different mental triggers. Um, so this section is designed to better equip my people to deal with all the areas that we're being attacked in. We're being attacked physically, we're being attacked mentally, we are being attacked spiritually. So this section is designed to help us armor up in all the areas we are being attacked. They're putting things in our air, in our water, in our food, and day-to-day products that we use every single day that specifically disrupt, distort, and destroy our unique cellular makeup. And for example, some ways to help fortify your body, maximize your vitality. In this section, you'll hear things such as, on the physical side of it, the health benefits of a fruit, vegetable, plant, herb, supplement, extract, elixir, root, or herb that will help increase your vitality by ingesting it or applying it topically. Some type of physical exercise you can do to stay in peak physical shape. On the mental side, things to maintain your mind, because your mind is where everything happens. So you have to stay in good mental health, in a good mental space. And the types of tips I give you there is things like mindful breathing, taking evaluation and inventory on your emotions, meditating, using emotional intelligence, identifying your emotions, just anything, any type of condition dealing with the mind, I give you a tip about. Spiritual practices, praying, meditating, fasting, any type of spiritual practices, spiritual exercises, every once in a blue moon, I'll hit you with, divine law, quantum law, metaphysics, but it's all health and wellness, all feeling good and being the best you can be, because health is wealth. All right, so with no further ado, the health and wellness tip of the day here on the Narrative podcast, I'm going to be talking to you about the health benefits that you will receive from pumpkin seeds. Now, seeds in general, that's where all, the vitamins and the nutrients lie in any fruit and vegetable you eat. The seed is where where it's most nutritious at. That's where you're going to get the biggest health benefit from, is the seed. But pumpkin seeds are, vastly superior to pretty much any other seed. They have anti-cancerous properties. They're rich in a substance called I'm going to trip over this word. I can give out the tips, but like the names or something else. Carcubinoids. And what they do is they block cancer cells in the body. They keep cancer cells from forming. In men, they're good for prostate health. They help your virility. They help you decrease your stamina. Increase your sperm count. Help keep the shaboing boing hard. I mean, I didn't know a non-vulgar way to say it, but this is good for that. Men suffering from, prostate problems such as ED. In women, it relieves hot flashes associated with menopause symptoms. It also is good for headaches, joint aches, and they help lower cholesterol. It's rich in photosterols, and it's basically a substance that blocks the absorption of cholesterol. It gets rid of bad cholesterol in your body too. We got good cholesterol and we got bad, so it helps as like a filtering mechanisms to get out the icky cholesterol out of your body. And it's a good sustainable food source. Pumpkin seeds, you can eat them all year round. They're especially good in the fall. So you can dry roast them, you can grind them up, make a pumpkin butter, like a spread type deal. You can eat them just straight raw. You could, but why would you? But you can. I think in the Spanish community they call pepitas. They're just a good practical snack. Don't just eat them on Halloween. You can eat them all year round. Increases blood flow. Keeps you regular. So it provides good health, like all seeds do. Very nutritious, so try to incorporate pumpkin seeds into your diets. And that'll be it for the health and wellness section here on the Narrator podcast. On to my next section, speaking point of the day. And today's speaking point of the day is, kind of jumped ahead of myself. So what is the speaking point of the day? The speaking point of the day is just basically like my commentary on breaking news, headlines, either breaking news globally around the world or specifically within our community. And the purpose of me doing that is controlling the narrative, because the media have us looking and sounding crazy. And so if history hasn't taught us anything, it's taught us this. If you don't tell your own story, your story will be told for you. So that's precisely what I'm doing here in this section called the speaking point of the day on the Narrator podcast, delivering commentary from our perspective, through our eyes, unpacking whatever issue happened either globally or within our community. And so today's speaking point of the day here on the Narrator podcast is at a graduation. Haven't seen any articles say whether it was high school or college, but it's the story of one Miss Kadita, if I'm saying her name right, Iman. She is a TikToker. She also has her OnlyFans account, so she's a social media content creator. And they picked the wrong one that day. So basically what had happened was, it was a teacher during a commencement celebration, because as I said earlier, June is graduation season. So like tons of high school and college students are graduating, and so they was having a commencement, and what this Caucasian teacher was doing, and this young lady noticed it, she was letting everybody else who was non-Caucasian, or everybody that was Caucasian, get up and say their name, take the microphone and say their name and shout their relatives out and take a seat. But when African Americans, original people, was going up to the stage saying their name, she was grabbing the microphone from them or cutting them really short. And when it got to be her turn, she said, "No, not today. Today is my day." And she took the mic from her and reclaimed her moments. And, that's kind of a metaphor. That young lady's action was kind of a metaphor for what we should be doing as a people. We should be reclaiming our moment. We got all these outside entities always trying to tell us what to do, how to conduct ourselves, what we should be happy or sad or angry about. So it's time we need to take this young lady's example and reclaim our moment. And that's precisely what she did in that moment. An interesting thing, when she went to TikTok and did her commentary, she's so humble. She was kind of second guessing herself. Like, what did she really, was she being extra? And my answer is no. And that's kind of what this systemic thing does. It makes you second guess yourself. It makes you second guess your true nature. The comedian Cat Williams, he had a joke about tigers in a zoo. He said something to the effect, if you don't understand what it's like for a tiger to be in a zoo, you will never understand what it's like for a black man to be in America. And that's precisely kind of what happened in that moment. They got a bad habit of trying to micromanage our emotions, trying to tell us what to feel, how to feel, when to feel. And this is another thing we need to do. We need to start. It's a prime example why we need our own schools. We need to start building our own schools so we won't have moments like that. Because the powers that be, these people, these folks, the new term for them, they're going to make it hard for our children. They don't want our children expressing themselves. Now, I know that our people, we really cut up at commencement. They be like, please hold all your applause to the very end. So please be respectful. Hold all your comments, hold all your applause to the end for your child. Because we have so many graduates and we want to be fair to everybody. I'm sorry, that's just how they be sounding in my head. Hold all your comments to the end. But anyway, so that's a big reason why we need our own schools, so we don't have to go through crap like that. Because this young lady did nothing wrong. She reclaimed her moment. The powers that be in that moment tried to seize her moment. She worked very hard to graduate, I'm pretty sure. They put all kinds of obstacles within her path to keep her. I know she was probably going back and forth. Reading it between the lines, she was probably going back and forth all year with that faculty member that snatched the mic from her. And so that's what they try to do to our children on graduation. They try to get their last little licks in before, we go out to the world. Because then, after we're done fighting with teachers, then we're going to be fighting with council people. Then we're going to be fighting with law enforcement. Then we're going to be fighting with laws and infrastructure and legislation. So this is primarily why we just need our own. We need our own, schools. We need our own colleges. We need our own vocational skills training centers, because the power to be, they're not going to respect us. They're not going to let us express ourselves and be us uniquely ourselves. They're not going to let us, they're intimidated by our shine. We make them uncomfortable. We make them uneasy, and they're going to go out of their way to treat us indifferent. And, they're going to go out of our way to dim our children's shine, dim their inner light with their foolishness. Because a lot of them, when they get into the teaching profession, this is, for a whole lot of them, it's payback. It's payback. It's payback for the, original man or original woman who they live next door to, when they really don't like original men and women. It's a payback through your child for the one that they have to work with at work. It's payback for their child for sporting events. It's payback for them who they feel we're getting like handouts and programs and stuff, especially, assigned to us. Like, oh, well, that's not fair. They got a grant only for them. And, so a lot of times that with these educators, in moments like that, they take that moment to seize their revenge. And just try to overly authoritate and be a fixture. They want to just, that one last time, just show you who the boss is. They want to, mentally break our children. That's what public school is. This is why we need our own schools. So yeah, ideally we should be able to kumbaya and sit together at the proverbial tablehood of brotherhood, but no, our children are suffering in this public school system. They hate to commute to the school, and then when they get there, it's all this BS, all this systemic BS from people like that teacher. They go through that, and they're, children are not like us. They can't vent their emotions like we can vent. They always got an authority over them telling them, no, you can't do this, you can't say this, no, no, no. That's what, the adolescence, adulthood is, just like adults telling you no, 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 no all the time. And especially with our children. It's not only no, it's like, no, you better not. No, you can't. You better not try. Don't think about it. Don't dream it. So yeah, and I think I've really made my point on that. We need our own school systems. We need to take that young lady's lead and reclaim our moment. We need to proverbially snatch our microphones from these culture vultures on these podcasts, on these docuseries, on these award shows, on these television shows, in these movies, and reclaim our moments. So that'll do it for my speaking point of the day. And now we are almost wrapped up here on another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. This last section will mark the close. And My final section of the day is called my final thought or my final word of the day. And final thought or final word, whichever I choose to call it for that day. Um, I'm gonna call it a final word of today. Today, what it is basically like a philosophical gem, a pearl of wisdom, a nugget of knowledge, something that would just incite critical thinking or just, resonate with you and make you ponder and be like, that's deep. I never thought about it like that. And today's final word of the day is super deep. It's a word we kind of use loosely on social media. Social media kind of uses everything loosely, a loose term used. But it is so real. It's so real, actually. And today's final word of the day is chosen one. That's right, chosen one. For starters, as an original man or woman, we're already the chosen ones of God. But to be a chosen one, what does that mean? Chosen one, chosen one. We're all chosen. We're all chosen to do something. But a chosen one is specifically picked out to do something great, something that will, change the landscape of the world, something unique, some special gift or ability. And I guess what today I'm talking about is when to recognize when you're a chosen one. So if you know you're a chosen one, you're the black sheep of the family, you're ostracized, you're always by yourself, everything is a struggle for you. Like social settings is just like every day it's like, why me, why this all the time? And it's because you're being primed, you're being groomed to do something greater. And all the trouble that gravitates to you is grooming you to overcome it. And so the whole thing is just a process, a journey. It's grooming you to overcome adversity. It's training you to shine your light in the darkest settings. Because you'll get little hints and signs that you're a chosen one, like the trouble will come to you. It'll be mainly from your inner circle, your family, people you went to school with, quote unquote your friends. You're the weird one. You're, or as we like to say in our community, a weirdo. But it's through your solitude where you'll hone your chosen one oneness, if that's a word, your chosen one power. We all got something that we're good at. But you're going to get tested quite often being the chosen one. Nobody's going to be able to relate to you. You're on a level that people can't get to. Like you're so far ahead of the game, you're like cosmic into the future. When you look, when you speak, and you open your mouth, people just kind of like tilt their head to the side because they can't process what you're saying, because you're just leaving them in awe. And a whole lot of people is just like in competition with you. Like you don't even know. You're just conducting your life, living your life, but it's people like really competing against you. Like watching whatever you're posting online, and then you will notice it. Like you think you're bugging, but you're not bugging. They'll be like do some slick stuff like subtweet or Just like you will make a video if you're a content creator, and then somebody would just do a video like, well, here's the right way. Some people think you're supposed to do it like this. Or like in podcasting, like if you're podcast, like I'm a podcaster, somebody might be, whatever I'm talking about, they'll flip it and just be like, whatever I said was just wrong. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, chosen ones fight battles from people just not ready to accept their light. They're going to be the opposition and present problems and just be intentionally problematic for you. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing, because the more people you get like that around you, that's charting your progression. And that's another way you will know you're a chosen one, when like people like that just don't even bother you and don't even faze you no more. Because, we're all meant to change the world to some small capacity. Some people are on the art side of it. They're going to change the world with their art form, whether it's, singing, dancing, acting, performing, writing, arts, making sculptures. Like, people with artists is like the ones people call super weirdos, like the people that make these beautiful sculptures and scenic paintings. Socially, people would call them like a weirdo. Or like, what else? Poets. Very misunderstood. People to play instruments. Everybody's a chosen one. Everybody's got a calling. And when you receive your calling, those are just the little telltale signs that you're a chosen one. Because there's somebody, for the every one deaf, dumb, and blind person that can't fathom your gift, there's like at least one or two hanging on by your every word. And the one or two hanging on by your every word, tuning into the You Show, the one that's watching you every single day, those are your highly influential people. Those are your super wealthy elite. Those are your, like, supposedly quote unquote third level intellects. They sitting up there watching you, hanging on to your every word, and just in awe of the way you think and the way you view the world and how you navigate and maneuver through life. So all those are telltale signs that you're a chosen one. Dick Gregory, rest his soul, he got a video that's resurfacing. It's going viral. One of the very last interviews he did before he passed. Said, it's dangerous when the universe picks you, and there's special rules that come with it. The universe will give you a magic pair of glasses, and like you can never take them off. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not getting his exact words. You can only see things as they are, and you can't force anybody to see what you see. And that's pretty much the day in the life of a chosen one. It's so frustrating at times. So if you're experiencing any of that, any discontent, any frustration, any just feelings of, being lonesome, lonely, or just when am I ever going to find my other half, or who can relate to me, you're probably a chosen one. You are the one, depending on how lonely you are and how isolated you are. You're probably not only a chosen one, you're probably the one. So, said all that to say, walk into your purpose. Don't just, people say speak your truth. Don't just speak your truth. Live your truth. Stand firmly rooted in your truth. And then become your truth. Own up to it. You are the chosen one. And that'll do it for my time. I'm going to stick a pin in it there. Yeah, that'll about do it. I think I made my little philosophical points today. Thanks for listening to another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. Do me the hugest favor. Download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast wherever you get your podcast from. So download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrative Podcast wherever you get your podcast from. And join me again next week for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. And join me in just wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you're tuning in on a daily basis because I go live during the week, at least one time a week. I never know what days I'm going to be live. So to, avoid missing me when I go live, follow me on social media, follow my YouTube channel, Halsey Allen. I don't have a just exclusive Narrative Podcast listening or viewer channel yet. But it's my viewer channel. Just follow me, Halsey Allen. Click the subscription button and then click your notification bell, and you'll never miss me when I go live. That way, because this platform broadcasts automatically to YouTube when I'm live, and then also on Twitter. Halsey Allen on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter, and you won't miss me when I go live during the weekday. Also, please support my book. I've written a book of poetry titled The Black Card. The Black Card is available on poetizer.com. So they have an online bookstore on poetizer.com. And the book is titled The Black Card. So visit the online bookstore on poetizer.com and purchase my book, The Black Card. The book's basically a all-inclusive, in-depth look on our culture, the culture, as people say, the culture. So that's 30 pages of poetry chronicling the culture. All the positive and all the negative. So do yourself the hugest favor that you can possibly do. Visit the online bookstore at poetizer.com and purchase the Black Card. Purchase the Black Card today or get your Black Card revoked. You heard? All right. Last order of business. I have a personal poetry blog as well. It's called Hallziespoetrycorner. Poetry Corner. And that's a collection of poetry written off the cuff, in the moment. Some really witty, insightful poems. It's on blogger.com, and the address is www.mrhalziesblogs.com. And the name of my personal poetry blog is called Hallzies Poetry Corner. And how you support that is visiting the link at www.mrhalziesblogs.com and sharing poems featured on that blog to your preferred social media sites such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever you're active on, TikTok, share Halsey's Poetry Corner poem to it. So like for YouTubers, TikTokers, if y'all want to share one of my poems, I guess you would have to shout out the link. If you're like a visual content creator, I'm an audio content creator. But definitely go check those poems out. The tagline for my personal poetry blog is Halsey's Poetry Corner. Poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read them, you will find out why. So do yourself the hugest favor and go visit Halsey's Poetry Corner today. Get some poetry in your life. That'll do it. Narrative podcast family, my narrators. Till next time, this is Halsey Allen, sending you love, light, healing energy, and challenging you to become a narrator, challenging you to share positive content about original people and original culture on whatever platform that you're active on. We got to change the narrative. I'm challenging all my listeners to become narrators and help me change the narrative. Well, until that next time, that's it. And that's all. Join me next week for another full episode of the Narrative Podcast. Halsey Allen and the Narrative Podcast signing off. And it's like that.
To the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.